Striking Scorpion 82 is sponsored by three great games: Warhammer Combat Cards, a card game featuring your favourite miniatures from the 40k universe; Knighthood, a role-playing turn-based game where players control a warrior, fight through levels to gain armour, weapons and loot; and finally HONKAI Star Rail version 1.2, a space fantasy RPG where players experience the galaxy's infinite wonders, filled with adventure and discovery. All three games are free to download and play, with links in the video description below. Begin your adventure now and enjoy the games. Right, welcome to this review for the brand new Tyranids Codex for 10th edition. It's the first codex to come out, so we've had the index cards for all of the factions, and now the Tyranid Codex arrives. So what's inside? A fair bit of discussion about this, and a slightly different approach to codex. The codex reviews here, just based on some of the stuff I'm going to talk about in this video. For discount 40k for the brand new Tyranid Codex, for all the new models coming out, for Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, other gaming systems, all your paints, sprays and accessories and so on. Use that link in the video description below for the Outpost. It's discount 40k with them. If your order's big enough, you can tap into free shipping, even in many of the countries across the European Union as well. It doesn't cost you anything to use that link. When you do use that link, it does help support the channel in a small way. We get a little bit of kickback and vouchers coming through that we can then use to get more models for the armies on the channel. So that really does help. And those of you that have been using the link regularly, it's much appreciated. Just that little bit of effort, and it really helps us on the channel. So there's a few things to talk about with this. First of all, a lot of people have been asking about the index cards and how big are the changes. Well, we'll have a little look at that when we come to it. First thing I'm going to do is just going to flick through, just going to show you the contents of the book, so what to expect inside. It's the usual size, same as the size as the 9th edition codexes, so not A4, sort of a wider format. I think it's the American paper size for these. So a little bit of spot UV and matte laminate, so it's a brilliant production. And then this image taking up most of the back just there, so let's give you an idea on the structure of the book. So I was wondering about points values. They are in the book. So I was wondering if Games Workshop would shift them online, because they're literally going to change within weeks, months. And then usually I go in the back and write them in, but I was thinking maybe Games Workshop just put them online because they're constantly fluctuating, but no, they are printed within the book. Same for the stat lines as well. Those are all included. So the structure is your background fluff and artwork, showcase, which takes you about halfway through the book. There's a section on combat patrol, running the smaller games of 40k and separate stuff for that. Then you've got the forces of the Tyranids, so a breakdown of all the units with the rules. It's all entered into here. I was wondering if perhaps you just get a set of cards with all the rules, but no, it's all within the codex. So really, for 10th edition, we're still seeing fully functional codexes here. I was wondering if they'd be trimmed down, stuff cut out, but Games Workshop, it's the usual kind of format here for codexes going forwards for 10th edition. You've got Crusade rules here at the back, and they have included points values. You do get them in this publication. So it's a chance to see inside the book. So they're kicking off with one of the older pieces of artwork here, the Intergalactic Predator. It's just the way the Tyranids are and how they operate. Fighting against the Leaguers of Votan. Love that combination for a game. Shadow in the Warp. Bio ships. Then the Tyrannic Wars. Fourth Tyrannic War. The Living Arsenal. Still got the different weapons that they have, and then some helpful artwork. Very interesting. Double page spreads. Again, it's not this kind of crammed in, rushed approach, but a real celebration of the artwork and the hobby, which is great to see. And the showcase, which is really impressive here. There's some of the new models being featured. Now I was wondering, just as a clue going forwards with Space Marines, if you look up here, they are using still some Firstborn models here. So we're not looking at a quick phase out. I was on the lookout there to see what else there is. The rest is Primaris stuff across here. Fighting against the Assimilation time with all the new stuff. There's the Lictor, that brilliant resculpt from Games Workshop. Really good. This is a classic. Tyranids against Eldar. What a matchup. Absolutely superb. Fights against the Orcs. Tyranids are just the general bad guys of 40k. They're just an enemy of everybody, so I'm a big fan of them. New Gene Cities against the new Terminators. Nice photograph work. High Fleet Leviathan, Screamer Killers, the colour scheme that I've gone for. So, just to let you know, I'm running 2 High Fleets. I plan to keep both running. The red colour scheme that's been on the channel for a good while, and then I've branched out into a Leviathan colour scheme as well. So, plan to run both of those and just do 2 unique styles. Because there's plenty of rules, plenty of variety for Tyranid units now. So, I'm going to celebrate different sculpts for different High Fleets is the plan. Very atmospheric double page spread here. Tyranids against Leagues of Votan. Very cool. So they've got rules for combat patrol. I'm not going to get into this too much, just telling you the structure for combat patrol. It's a great introductory way for getting into 40k. You actually get a unique detachment for it with stratagems. Very interesting, so that you can do that and actually put the data sheets for those specific units in with the combat patrol section as well, and they're repeated across here for the regular unit entries. So one of the questions that's come up is how much the rules are going to change from what we see on the index cards over into the codex. Is it a big shake-up? Is there big changes in the stat lines, or does it remain the same? So I'm not going to go through, I'm just going to skip over here and come back to detachments in just a moment. So to give you an idea, I'm going to take a look at one of the main ones that people are asking about, and that's this guy here, the Swarmlord. So Swarmlord, just comparing the stat lines, they're both movement 8, they're both toughness 10, 2 up save, 4 up invulnerable save. There's a slight structural change on these. They've moved the invuln save up just underneath the armor save. Still 10 wounds, leadership 7+, and OC control 3, so that's all remain the same. Deadly demise D3 and leaders the same. Factions same. Hive commander, gain a CP is the same. Then you've got this role called Malign Presence. It's the same. Domination of the Hive Mind is the same. And then what was on the back here, Swarmlord Epic Hero, and the equipment's just been brought in across here, that's the same. And then the weapons, we're expecting most change to take place. Synaptic Pulse, Psychic Torrent, still range 18, D6+3, auto hits, strength 5 -1 at 2 damage, there's no change. And Bone Sabers, Twin Linked, strength, or 8 attacks, 2 hits, strength 9, 8 -2, 3 damage. There's no change going on here with these. So I'm a bit surprised and perhaps a little bit scary for some of the stat lines where people have been complaining about, such as like heirloom weapons. This is sort of generalized weapons we're seeing for a number of units across the factions. I'm hoping Games Workshop fix that kind of thing. Perhaps they're watching the index cards and they're keeping an eye on what people are complaining about, and they will make those fixes. So I'm going to check a few more stat lines and see what's changed and what hasn't. Alright, so I haven't gone through all the stat lines, but I've gone through Von Ryan's Leapers, Winged Tyrant Prime, Tyranid Prime, the Screamer Killer, which I thought they might change, and then Tyranid Warriors, the close combat option. They're identical, so there's no change going on here. So I would say, without going through all of the stat lines, that it looks like 99% of the stuff's remaining. You may see some errors and corrections change, which is fine. There might be some tweaks to the rules, perhaps, but for what I'm seeing, we're looking at identical stuff going on here with these stat lines. So it looks like no real big shake-up coming for any of the index cards. So what you have at the moment with those index cards is pretty much the stat lines you're going to get with the codexes. So then raises the question, well, how are Games Workshop going to balance things out? I think that the two things they'll use will be points. So if one faction is doing particularly well, they'll just adjust the points up. If they're doing poorly, then they'll adjust the points down. So that can fluctuate whilst the stat lines remain the same. And the other thing they can do with the new codexes is bring in stronger detachments and rules. So I'm hoping the Tyranids are going to get some nice strong detachment rule abilities, which could really help them out to give them a bit of a push. So that's the kind of situation I think that's going on. So in which case, I'm not going to go through all the stat lines again for all of these units. So instead what I'm going to do, I did say this Codex review is going to be a bit different. So for this video, the main focus is going to be on these new detachments, of which there are 6. And again, that seems to be the structure going forwards for the codexes. So we'll take a good look at those. I'm also going to take a look at the brand new units that Games Workshop have introduced. We'll have a look at the rules for those. For the rest of the unit entries, just check out my Tyranids index cards review, and that'll give you the breakdown and Tactica for all of those units. It's been reviewed and covered already, so you can check that out in that video. So we're back now at the detachments. We'll do it in order, so we'll take a look at these first of all. So, well, we'll see how good these are. So I'll give you my take on these different options here. But Tyranids are getting a bit of variety now, so you've got different detachments that you can choose. So hopefully this is going to be helpful enough. So we'll see what comes up here. So you've got your army rule, which is covered previously across here on your index card, and that's pretty much remained the same. So you've got your synapse range, the importance of keeping your units within synapse. You get stronger buffs from your stratagems, for example, and it's better for leadership if you can. So I've tried to operate that way, and it does help, and it does give a bit of a boost to your stratagems when you use them. Then you've got the Shadow and the Warp rule, which I believe has remained the same, so I'll go through it again. If your army's faction is Tyranids, wants to battle in either player's command phase, so timing this is really important. If one or more units from your army with this ability are on the battlefield, you can unleash the Shadow and the Warp. When you do so, each enemy unit on the battlefield must take a battle shock test. It's kind of disruption factor going on for the opponent to disrupt them off of holding objectives and so on. I found it to be okay and useful enough. You do see units failing battle shock a fair bit in games. So the first attachment coming up is Invasion Fleet, which you'll be familiar with if you're a Tyranids player, because it's the same one. And for what I can see, it has remained the same. I'll go through it again, just in case there are any changes. I've been looking at the stratagems. Predatory Imperative, it says here, and there's a difference. It's called Synaptic Insight, but the actual rules are the same. So they've changed the title, but the rules remain the same for that stratagem. I'll go through this again, just so we've got a comparison then for the other detachments that are available. So your detachment rule is hyper adaptions. So at the start of the first battle round, you select one of the following hyper adaptions, and it applies until the end of the game. So you've got Swarming Instincts. Each time a Tyranids model of this hyper adaption makes an attack that targets infantry or swarm, you get sustained hits. So 6s pop extra hits, which is fine. I quite like that one. Hyper Aggression. Each time a Tyranids model of this hyper adaption makes an attack that targets monsters and vehicles, you get lethal hits. So 6s auto wound. Fine, great. And then Hive Predators is the ability to get precision hits on critical hits. So 6s to hit become precision for rooting out characters. I've never used that one, but these two, if you're up against lots of monsters and vehicles, you take Hyper Aggression, and then if you're up against mostly infantry, you just go for Swarming Instincts. You just get it for the entire game. So I quite like that rule. It's good enough. Then you've got enhancements here. So there's 4 to choose from to give to your HQ choices. It looks like they've all stayed the same. So you've got Alien Cunning. So both players have deployed their armies. Select up to 3 Tyranids units from your army and redeploy. So strategic redeploy those. You've got perfectly adapted roll. Tyranids model. Once per turn, you can reroll 1 hit roll, 1 wound roll, 1 damage roll, 1 advanced roll, 1 charge roll, or 1 save and throw made for the bearer. It's quite limited. It's okay, but it's not amazing. And then Synaptic Linchpin. Tyranids model. Whilst the friendly Tyranids units within 9 inches of the bearer, the unit has the synapse range. It's just 9-inch synapse. And then Adaptive Biology. You get 5+ built-in Feel No Pain. And then at the start of your turn, if you've less than your starting number of wounds, you get 4+ Feel No Pain. It's a bit of durability there. So they're all right. Then your stratagems. Rapid Regeneration, which is a shame it's not wounds being restored, but it gives you Feel No Pain in the shooting phase or fight phase. just after you select, the opponent selects the target. Then you target an attack. At the end of the phase, models and unit have a 6-up feel no pain. If your unit is in synapse range, so the importance it goes to a 5+ feel no pain. The ability to absorb damage, I think, is quite key for the Tyranids, so that's useful enough. Adrenal Surge, up to 2 Tyranid units from your army that are within synapse range of your army, or 1 if you're not, that is eligible to fight. At the end of the phase, each time model that unit is selected to fight, unmodified hit rolls of 5+ score critical hits. So if you then compare that with Swarming Instincts, then 5s and 6s will pop extra hits coming through, sort of doubles the effectiveness of that. It is 2 CP though. Then Death Frenzy, 4+, you get to fight before you're removed from play with models in the fight phase, just after you've been targeted. So you think the opponent's going to bring some of your models down or destroy a monster, you play that for 1 CP, and there's a half a chance to get to fight before removed from play, which is okay, but it's not guaranteed. There's only a 50-50 chance. Overrun is that bit of extra movement when you consolidate 6 inches. I don't ever use that one. Predatory Imperative, you get to pick an extra hyper adaptation from here, and as well as the one you're already on for that unit. And then Endless Swarm is the ability to restore models to endless multitude units, like Gaunts, for example. It's D3+3. I've used that a few times. It's been helpful enough. So I quite like this detachment, but it was okay. It's not particularly strong. So the question is, are these better? Are there some really good detachments in here? And will I shift? Because I'm thinking of my own 2 Tyranid hive fleets. Will I shift off of Invasion fleet and head over to any of these new ones? So we'll see. We'll break these down next. So first one's Crusher Stampede. So these are themed, so this is like for monsters really. The detachment roll, so for all units in your detachment, is Enraged Behemoths. Each time a Tyranid monster model from your army makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll. If that model's unit is below its starting strength, you've actually got to take damage to get that. And add 1 to the wound roll if you're below half strength. So it's only going to apply to wounded models or units that have taken damage. I guess though, if you're moving in for the kill, you're expecting to take damage and take wounds, so fine, but it's a bit annoying because it's only your damage stuff and your weaker stuff that's going to be helped by that. So okay, enhancements you can give to your characters. Ominous Presence, Tyranid monster model, add 3 to the bearer's objective control. Yeah, so okay. Alright, Enraged Reserves, Tyranid monster model only if the bearer is destroyed by melee attack. If it's not fought this phase, roll a d6, not 3+, do not remove it from play. It can fight after the attacking model's unit has finished making its attacks, and then it's removed from play. So fight on death, but it is a 3+. It's likely it'll go ahead, but it's not guaranteed. And it's only for that bearer. Yeah, okay, it's alright though, it's alright. Now, Nodules. Tyranid monster model, once per battle, when a psychic attack is allocated to the bearer, it can use this ability. You get 5+ feel no pain against psychic attacks. Okay, and then Monstrous Nemesis, Tyranid monster model. Each time the bearer makes an attack that targets a monster or vehicle, add 1 to the wound roll. And again, that's okay. So, not bad. And then I'd probably stay on Invasion Fleet so far. I'll stick on Invasion Fleet and then see what will shift me off. So far, I wouldn't move. Next is, here we go. I'm going to go for stratagems now. Corrosive Viscera. So your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase just after a Tyranid monster model from your army with the deadly demise ability that cannot fly is destroyed. That Tyranid monster model, you can use a stratagem even though it was just destroyed. Do not roll a d6 to determine. However, the mortal wounds are inflicted. Instead, mortal wounds are automatically inflicted. So you automatically blow up. So, fine. And then Rampaging Monstrosities. Fight phase, 1 Tyranid monster unit from your army that has been selected to fight this phase. To end the phase, each time model unit makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll. Fine, that's good. Rerolling hits, fantastic. That's really going to help out units like Screamer Killers. Fantastic. So yeah, that's a good one. Savage Roar. Fight phase. Just after an enemy unit has selected its targets, one Tyranid monster unit from your army that was selected as the target of one or more of the attacking unit's attacks. The enemy unit must take a battle shock test until the end of the phase. Each time model in the enemy unit makes an attack that targets your unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll. If the battle shock was failed, subtract 1 from the wound roll as well. It's a bit of a ability to shut things down a bit. So yeah, helpful enough. One way of protecting your unit. It's got to be in the fight phase though. And then Untrammeled Ferocity. It's in your movement phase. One Tyranids monster unit from your army that has not been selected to remove this, or selected to move this phase. At the end of that phase, models in unit that move can move through enemy models as if they were friendly models. At the end of the phase, any desperate escape test those models must take are automatically passed. Okay, for a very unique situation, it's there, but I wouldn't say it's a general use stratagem. Swarm guided salvos. One Tyranid monster unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot. Here we go. To the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by models and unit have the ignores cover ability. And until the end of the phase, each time model the unit makes an attack, you can ignore any or all modifiers to the ballistic skill and any or all modifiers to the hit roll. Okay, so shut down any kind of shenanigans and ignores cover. It's helpful enough, you know, if your tank's getting cover and it's really going to help them out with their cover save and they pop smoke. They're proving difficult to hit. You play that just to shut things down. So I can see that being useful. Thinking of Tyrannofexes with rupture cannons, that would really help them out. So you can see this is all geared towards monsters here. Next is Massive Impact. In your charge phase, just after a Tyranid monster model from your army ends a charge move, you target that monster, select an enemy unit with engagement range of that model, and roll 6d6. Each 4+, it's a mortal wound, so a chance to smash into stuff. Yeah, cool. So it's like a tank shock ability going on there for the Tyranid monsters. So there you go. I guess if I was running monster themed, which is the route I think I'll go down with my red Tyranids, I would go for this detachment. Fair enough. Like to reroll hits, fantastic. Shut down hits and wound rolls. Not sure on the main rule though. You're only getting that buff when you're wounded, and you must remember that during the game as well. So yeah, it's all right. I'd say it's comparable to the previous detachment. So if this is the way it's going to be going forwards, perhaps it will be points. It's where Games Workshop will balance factions out. So Eldar doing really well. You're going to see expense being added onto them. If your factions are struggling, then you'll see a points reduction, something like that. So we'll go to the next one. Unending Swarm here. This is the third detachment option for the Tyranids. And your theme here is you're scuttling Endless Swarm. Look. Endless Swarm, Endless Swarm, Endless Swarm. It's just all of these benefiting Endless Swarm. So you're really getting some very strong themes here for your Tyranids detachments. So Insurmountable Odds. This is your main detachment rule. Each time an enemy unit is selected to shoot after the unit is finished making its attacks, if one or more models from one or more Endless Swarm multitude units from army is destroyed as a result of those attacks, each such unit can make a surge move. To do so, roll 1d6. The unit can be moved a distance in inches up to the result. That unit must end that move as close as possible to the closest enemy unit, excluding aircraft. When doing so, those models can be moved within engagement range of enemy units. So this is like a World Eaters here. A unit cannot make a surge move whilst it is battle shocked. So you're shot at, you take damage, and you just surge d6 inches ahead each time. You could push yourself even into close combat. So the more you get shot at, the more you can close the distance towards the opponent. So you can have a good lot of fun with that, playing things like Gene Stealers, Hormagaunts, and so on. Gene Stealers, I don't know about that. Depends if they are Endless Swarm or not. No, they're not. So that's a shame. That is a real shame. A surge move with Gene Stealers would be incredible, but no. So enhancements then. Relentless Hunger. Tyranids model only. Add 2 to the move characteristic models of the bearer units. We're looking at speed here. So say you've got a monster, high tyrant leading the army. An extra 2-inch moves, they can keep up with the scuttling bugs. Fine. Naturalized Camouflage. Tyranids model only. At the start of the first battle round, select up to 3 friendly endless multitude units within 9 inches of the bearer. To the end of the battle round, each time a ranged attack targets one of those units, models that unit have the benefit of cover. So you're granting cover to a load of units. Fine. Yeah, really good, that one. Not bad at all. Piercing Talons, Tyranids model only. Each time model in the bearer's unit makes an attack, a critical wound, improve the AP by 1. And then Adrenalized Onslaught, Tyranids model only. Each time the bearer's unit piles in or consolidates, you get an extra 3 inches. So, okay. So definitely a strong theme here. So it's encouraging people to go down a certain route, different styles of Tyranid armies. So Synaptic goading here for 1 CP. In any phase, just before an endless multitude unit from your armies within synapse of your army makes a surge move. So when making that surge move, you can re-roll the d6 to determine how far a unit moves. That worth a CP, re-roll the d6. Unit can end that move as close as possible to closest objective marker instead of as close as the possible enemy unit. All other rules for making surge moves still apply. So it's like a command re-roll basically for that. I suppose that's kind of necessary because you can't, with that rule, you can't command reroll. It doesn't fall under the criteria, the list of things you can command reroll, so that they put it in there as a stratagem. So, Unending Waves, 2 CP, 1 endless swarm multitude unit from army that was just destroyed. You can use a stratagem on that unit even though it was just destroyed. Add a new unit for your army identical to your destroyed unit in strategic reserves at its starting strength. Any destroyed character units that were attached are not returned. So you don't get your Broodlord back. Sorry, it's not going to apply to Gene Stealers. So you're looking at like Hormagaunts, for example, squad of 20 of them, 2 CP will bring them back. Very cool. I think that too many players will like that one. Teaming Messes. Your opponent's shooting phase, and by all means, it'd be great to hear your comments. What do you think of the Codex? What do you think of the detachments? What do you think of the knots? The changes not taking place with the index cards, and your general impression of the Codex and the faction at the moment for Tyranids, and whether this is going to help much or not. Do leave that in the comments section below. Teaming Masses. Your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. 1 endless multitude unit from your army that's selected as the target of one or more of the attacking unit's attacks. To end the phase, each time attack, it's -1 to hit them, which is alright. Swarming Masses. Your shooting phase or fight phase, 1 endless multitude unit from your army that has been selected to shoot or fight. That has not been selected to shoot or fight. At the end of that phase, weapons equipped by models in the unit have the sustained hits, so 6 is popping extra hits. And if your unit contains 15 or more models, then it's unmodified 5 pluses, score critical hits. Bounding Advance. Movement phase, 1 endless swarm multitude unit from your army until end of that phase. Each time your unit moves, do not make an advanced roll. Instead, until end of the phase, add 6. So it's a guaranteed 6-inch advance. So you're really pushing the speed here element for this Unending Swarm. Very interesting way to play Tyranids. Cool. Preservation Imperative. Your opponent's shooting phase just after the enemy unit has selected its targets. 1 endless multitude unit from your army that selects as the target of one or more of the shooting unit's attacks. At the end of that phase, your unit is treated as containing fewer than 5 models for the purposes of blast, so just cutting down the blast bonus. Okay, so that's Unending Swarm. I guess, depending on the theme of your army, you're going to naturally just going to slot into one of these detachments, but they all seem generally quite evenly good. Yeah, maybe not, that's the wrong way to describe it. They all seem generally even as to how good they are. We'll have to see. Next is the Assimilation Swarm. So I'm currently sticking with the original Invasion Fleet. And then for my red army, for the Leviathan, and then for the reds, I reckon I'd go for the Crusher Stampede. It's strong enough to help out my monsters. But would I, so I'll probably stick with that for the red army. What about High Fleet Leviathan? Will I shift off of the Invasion Fleet or not? will I shift over to Assimilation Swarm? I'm trying to think of my overall strategy. You can check out the army development video on YouTube channel membership. I'll talk about the list and the tactics on there. And I'm just trying to apply it to how it would assist my battle plan. Depends on how you want to play Tyranids, what kind of structure you want your army to be. But brilliant to have this flexibility and diversity here. So, feed the swarm. In your command phase, each harvester unit for your army that is within range of objective marker you control can regenerate one friendly Tyranids unit that is within 6 inches of it. The unit can only be regenerated once per phase. Each time a unit regenerates, do one of the following. So, one model in that unit regains up to D3 lost wounds. Now we're tapping into restoring stuff. I always like this. One destroyed infantry model excluding characters is returned to that unit with its 4 wounds remaining. If the unit is an endless swarm multitude, add up to 3 destroyed models are returned. Up to 3 destroyed models are returned instead. So I'm just taking a look at the harvester keyword, each harvester unit. So this is an update in here. So horror specs, which the rules look identical by the way. The shooting weapons, close combat weapons is all the same. But what they have added is here, the harvester keywords. This is a harvester unit. So there's a number of units in the book that are harvester units for this to apply to. Okay. So ability to restore stuff. Yes, it's okay. So regenerating monstrosity, Tyranids model only, excluding monsters. The bearer's unit can regenerate up to twice per phase instead of once. Oh. Cool. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, that's going to be an auto take, I think. That's quite good. Instinctive defense. Tyranids model only. Whilst the bearer is within 6 inches of one or more friendly harvester units, you can target the bearer's unit for heroic intervention stratagem for 0 CP. In addition, whilst the bearer is within 6 inches of one or more friendly harvester units, models in the bearer's unit have to fight its first ability. So not only are we getting a strong theme running through now with this particular detachment, but it's really pinning you down on particular unit choices as well. If you're going to go for Assimilation Swarm, you've got to be taking your harvester units. Otherwise, you're just not going to get any kind of buffs going on. So I would suggest any type of unit that's giving birth to and devouring stuff is going to get these kind of bonuses. The non-emissary and assimilator don't get it. Interesting, they don't. Harvester, don't get harvester. No. Your Hive Tyrant doesn't get it. I'm just having a little look here. Just to give you an idea of, so we've seen that the horror specs gives you the harvester ability. The psychophage, I'd imagine, yes, I'd presume that would be harvester ability of the psychophage, and the other one's the Turbigon. Doesn't get it. Oh, weird. So you really are quite pinned down to harvester models here, and there's only a few of them in the book. Well, oh, Toxicrene, surely. No. Oh, man, pinned down. All right, but anyway, it's very specific, the theme on this one. The biophage flow, so an aura ability. Whilst friendly harvester models within 12 inches of the bearer, when using the feed the swarm ability, the harvester can regenerate one friendly Tyranids unit that is within 9 inches instead of 6, so just extending the range. Parasitic biomorphology. They're quite clever, these attachments. Add 1 to the strength characteristic of melee weapons equipped with models in the bearer's unit. The first time the bearer's unit destroys an enemy unit in the fight phase, whilst the bearer is within 6 inches of one or more friendly harvester units to end the battle. Add 1 to the attacks characteristic of melee weapons equipped by models in the bearer's unit. So, I'm not saying it's not saying you completely pinned down to only get harvester units. You need them though, and you need to be near them in some cases to get the buffs. Broodguard Impulse. In any phase, one harvester unit from your army that was just destroyed, you can use a stratagem on the unit even though it was just destroyed until the end of the battle. Each time a friendly Tyranids model makes an attack that targets the enemy unit that just destroyed your harvester unit, add 1 to the wound roll. So again, quite specific. Reclaim biomass. Any phase when a Tyranids unit from your army is destroyed before the last model is removed from play, one harvester unit from your army is in 6 inches of that destroyed unit is the target. Regenerate on friendly Tyranids unit within 6 inches of your harvester unit. C, feed the swarm. So yeah, the last model was removed. You've got to be within 6 inches of a unit. Okay, right. So you've got a unit that's been wiped out, but it's within 6 inches of a harvester unit. Just as you're about to take the last model off, you then just get to restore it back to place. You stop the wipeout, basically. I think that's what it's saying, which is very cool. But again, quite specific, very specific situation in the game. So you've got to, if you're going to run this one, you've got to know your harvester units and know the rules just to get the real good opportunity set. Tyranno formed in the command phase, 1 CP. You want a harvester unit from your army that was in range of objective marker you control. That objective marker remains under your control even if you have no models within range of it. And then until your opponent controls at the start of any turn. Yeah, so it's a sticky objective, you can leave it. Ablative Carapace, 2 CP in your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. 1 harvester unit from your army that was selected as the target of those attacks. To the end of the phase, you get Feel No Pain, 5+. If the unit is in range of objective marker you control, it's 4+, Feel No Pain. So yeah, the opponent thinks, yeah, I'm going to go after the harvester units. Well, there's a possibility there of really protecting it quite well. It's quite pricey though, 2 CP to get a 5+ Feel No Pain. I mean, like, you're only paying 1 CP for 5+ Feel No Pain with rapid regeneration, but you won't go up to your 5+ or 4+ with that one. So it's okay, but it's 2 CP. Secure Biomass. In the fight phase, 1 Tyranids unit from your army that's not been selected to fight. Into that phase, melee weapons equipped by models in the unit have lethal hits, so 6 is auto wounding. If your unit is a harvester unit, each time model in the unit makes attack, then it's a 5+ for auto wounding. And then Rapacious Hunger, 1 CP in your fight phase. 1 Tyranids unit from your army that's just destroyed an enemy unit. Your unit immediately regenerates. Cool, so you get some wounds back, models back. When doing so, if your unit is a harvester unit and you choose 1 model to regain up to D3 lost wounds, that model regains up to 3 wounds instead. Okay, so that is specific. I don't think it's going to apply to my current sort of structure for High Fleet Leviathan, but very strongly themed, that one. And your harvester units, so that they can become very crucial for this particular detachment. Nicely themed though, for the theme of Tyranids. Right, now this one, just by the title, Vanguard Onslaught, this may well suit what I'm looking to do with my High Fleet Leviathan collection. So we'll see. I wonder if I'd shift to this one. So questing tendrils is the detachment rule. Tyranids units with this ability are eligible to charge in the turn in which they fell back, so fall back and charge. Vanguard invader units with this ability are eligible to declare a charge in which they advance. So I'm guessing logically invader units is going to be things like lictors and so on. Clever how they've added the keywords in, updated these. Genestealer's invader? Vanguard invader, yeah. Okay, so all of a sudden, for Genestealers, you're looking at the possibility of falling back and charging, and advance and charging. Well, this is going to be a popular detachment. All of a sudden, Genestealer is one of the stronger choices. Wow. Very good. Okay. Well, that's some good news. You could see a bit of potency here. Vanguard Invader keyword on Death Leaper. And I don't need to look up Lictor, it's obvious it's going to be on the Lictor. So it's those kind of infiltratey first contact type units, which I've just given you some examples just there. So this is really good. If you're going to go for these kind of units, there's a big payback here. This is strong. Vanguard Prime. Death Leaper loses the Hunter Organism and gain, Death Leaper loses the Hunter Organism rule and he can be your Warlord. So now we're looking for, so we're off to a good start here, and then we'll see what we've got going on. Hunting Grounds. Tyranids model only. These are enhancements. Whilst the bearer is on the battlefield, each time your opponent sets up a reserves unit on the battlefield, roll 1d6 or 2+, they have to take a battle shock test. Huh. Okay. Chameleonic. Vanguard Invader model only. The bearer has the stealth ability, and each time a ranged attack targets the bearer's unit, models in the unit have the benefit of cover. So you're always getting cover, and it's stealth as well. Great. That was really good. Stalker. Vanguard Invader model only. At the start of the battle, select one enemy unit. Each time the bearer makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, add 1 to the hit roll and add 1 to the wound roll. Yeah, you're hunting stuff down. Very cool. That was great. Nice. Neuronode. Tyranids model only. After both players have deployed their armies and determined who has the first turn, you can select up to 3 Vanguard Invader units from your army and redeploy all of those units. In doing so, any of those units can be placed into strategic reserves, regardless of how many you have in reserve. So yeah, redeploy. Nice. So we're off to a good detachment roll. Some helpful enhancements, which I think will be popular enough. Now on to stratagems. If these stratagems are strong, looking at a good detachment here. Surprise assault for a CP. In your shooting phase or fight phase, 1 Vanguard Invader unit from your army that has been selected to shoot or fight this phase, and 1 enemy unit. That enemy unit must take a battle shock test to the end of that phase. Each time model in your unit makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, add 1 to the hit roll. If the battle shock test is failed, it's +1 to the wound roll. So you're going to get +1 to the hit roll. Fine. And then +1 to the wound roll could be very, very useful. Okay. Well, fine. I think that'd be useful enough. Assassin Beasts. 1 Vanguard Invader infantry unit from your army that's not been selected to fight. You get precision. Okay. So Eugene Sealers could root out characters, for example. So nice. Seeded Broods. 1 CP. And your movement phase. 1 Tyranids unit from your army that is in reserves. Or up to 2 Vanguard Invader units from your army that are in reserves. End of the phase. For the purposes of setting up those selected units on the battlefield, treat the current battle round as being 1 higher than it actually is. So that means like deep strikey stuff on turn 1, for example, if that's possible. Hypersensory Cilia. 2 CP in your opponent's movement phase, just after an enemy unit makes normal move or advance or fallback move. Up to 2 Vanguard Invader units from your army within 9 inches of that enemy unit. Or up to 1 Tyranids infantry unit from your army that's within 9 inches of that unit. Those selected units can make a normal move up to 6 inches. You cannot target units that are within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units. Okay. So you could use it, I think there's 2 ways to use it, I think. You could use it to back off. Or to push in towards the target to then play Heroic Intervention to get into combat. Quite a good move, that one. Interesting one. Unseen Lurkers. Your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. 1 Vanguard Invader unit from your army that selects as a target 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. At the end of the phase, each unit can only be selected as a target of a ranged attack if the attacking model is within 12 inches, or if your unit has the lone operative ability. If the attacking model is within 6 inches, if you have lone operative, your opponent can then select a new target. So it's to shut down shots, which again, Gene Stealers is going to help them a heap. Well. So yeah, that's particularly good, I think. You could go real Gene Stealer heavy here, and it's a massive rewards if you do with this detachment. The last one's Invisible Hunter. Until your opponent's fight phase, up to 2 Vanguard Invader units from your army or 1 Tyranids infantry unit from your army. Remove the target units from the battlefield and place them into reserves. The target units must be more than 3 inches away from all enemy units. So just a chance to disappear and relocate. Yep, that's looking a good detachment. Out of all of them so far, I think that's the strongest one. Okay, next is Synaptic Nexus. So it's at the start of the battle round, you can select one of the Synaptic imperatives shown below until the end of the battle round. That Synaptic imperative is active for your army, and while 200 units from your army within Synaptic range of your army that benefit from it, each Synaptic imperative can only be selected once per battle. So you burn your way through these 3. Synaptic augmentation, whilst this unit is within engagement range of your army, units have a 5+ invulnerable save. Whilst the unit is... Next one is Surging Vitality. Whilst the unit is within synapse range of your army, have 1 to the advance and charge rolls made for that unit and goaded to slaughter whilst this unit is within synapse range of your army. Each time model the unit makes an attack, a melee attack, it's +1 to the hit roll. So yeah, helpful enough. Enhancements then, Power of the Hive Mind. Tyranid Psyker, improve the strength and AP by characteristics of psychic weapons equipped by the bearer by 1. So that's okay, and that's alright. And there's Psychostatic Disruption. Synapse model only, so this is real sort of psycho-synapse kind of theme going on. Which is good. This is exciting for future codexes for the different factions. Really nicely, strongly themed detachment roles. So this looks, depending on your playstyle and your favourite units, you can build around a particular detachment. This is looking really good. This is a way better way of doing things as opposed to 25 stratagems for all your army and trying to learn them all and so on. You're just getting like nice specific themed detachments, which is a great move. I think this is a real good move from Games Workshop. So Psychostatic Disruption, Tyranid Synapse model, enemy units that arrive on the battlefield from reserves cannot be set up within 12 inches of the bearer. In addition, once per battle during the first or second battle round, when your opponent declares that the unit will arrive on the battlefield from strategic reserves, the bearer can use this enhancement. If it does, roll 1d6 or 4+. The enemy unit cannot arrive on the battlefield this turn. Just shut them down. Synaptic Control, Tyranid Synapse model only. Each time an attack is allocated to the bearer, it's -1 damage. Nice. And then Dirge Heart of Karis Aura ability for a Synapse model, whilst enemy units within 9 inches of the bearer worsen their leadership by 1. Okay, and then Smothering Shadow for 1 CP. Any phase just after an enemy unit fails a battle shock test, 1 Synapse unit from within 12 inches of that enemy unit, roll 66 for each 3+ enemy unit suffers a mortal wound. Quite good. They've got a fail a battle shock test though. Eek, doesn't happen too often. Synaptic Channeling, 1 CP in the command phase, 1 Synapse unit from your army. At the end of the turn, while a friendly Tyranid unit within 9 inches of the selected unit, that unit is within Synapse range of your army. Irresistible Will. Your shooting phase or fight phase, 1 Synapse unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight this phase, and 1 enemy unit within 24 invisible to the Synapse unit. At the end of that phase, each time a friendly Tyranid's model makes an attack that targets the enemy unit, if the attacking model's units within 6 inches of your Synapse unit, reroll a hit roll and wound roll of 1. Reinforced Hive Node, your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets, 1 Synapse unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. At the end of that phase, each time an attack targets your unit, worsen the AP by 1. And then Imperative Dominance. Command phase, 1 Tyranid unit from your army that is within Synapse range of your army. Select 1 Synaptic Imperative, even if you've already selected the Imperative this battle. To start the next command phase, that Synaptic Imperative is active for your unit instead of any other Synaptic Imperative. And finally, Override Instincts. In your movement phase, 1 Tyranid unit from your army that is within Synapse range of your army and made a fallback move. You can shoot and charge. So, Synaptic Nexus. And that is it. Is there 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, so we've gone through all of them. You get 6 detachments. 1, it seems, has carried over from the index cards. So really you've got 5 new detachments. They're very strongly themed, which is a brilliant move. You've got some real diversity here, and then you're going to get some rewards depending on the build theme for your Tyranid's army. The best one, in my opinion, is Vanguard Onslaught. What do you think? What's your favourite? Will you shift off of Invasion Fleet? And which would you go for? Depends, I guess, on your Tyranids collection. How do you like to run Tyranids? Okay, so we're coming to data sheets. I'm not going to run through all of these. Check out the index review because the rules are pretty much, as we've seen, the rules are pretty much the same. So we're going to look for the brand new models and take a look at the rules and discuss those sort of Tactica here as to how useful they may or may not be. So we'll go in the order as they come. So the first up is this non-emissary. We'll also look at the assimilator. You can build either one from the same kit. I've built mine, by the way, just at the time of filming. It's at this stage. Fantastic model. I've gone for the Assimilator. You'll see why as we look at the rules. But, I mean, like, it's just... It is an amazing model. Could be a real pride and joy model to take for your Tyranid army. Beautiful. So, glad to see him in. So I went for the Assimilator. Didn't go for the non-emissary, the big brainy kind of option here. I think that'd be this will probably be the more popular choice, but you'll see why as we go through. So the non-emissary, I can actually give you points values here as well for this thing. I think right at the very back, 285 points for a non-emissary. Oh no, the non-assimilator's 305. Interesting. Okay, so movement 10. Toughness 11, 2 up save, 16 wounds, OC of 5, and the leadership of 7. That's the same for both. Now, the big difference is 4+ invulnerable save for the emissary, no invulnerable save at all for the non-assimilator. That's why I'm thinking people might choose this guy over him. He does more damage, so it's kind of weighing up what to do. More hitting power, tougher. I'm reasoning that they start on a 2-up. So it's going to take, like, very high caliber weapons to get you past a 4+ saving throw anyway. Like, a lot of stuff's AP minus. The heavy hitting stuff now, a lot of it's AP minus 2 or 3. And so combine that with cover, you're going to be hovering around a 4+ save a lot of the time anyway, no matter what you're hit by. Unless there's real high caliber stuff like AP minus 5, like a railgun or something, which could really cause trouble for that. Anyway, and there's 16 wounds, just a fair bit to try and get through. Non-emissary. So the ranged weapons, you've got psychic attack here. Psychic tendril has 3 options to choose from. Okay. Yeah, you choose which one. So psychic tendril, neuro parasite, it's precision and psychic, so for rooting out characters, range 18, 2 attacks, lean 2s, strength 8, -2 and D3 damage. The tendril neuro blast, which is blast and psychics. This is going after your, this is quite a good weapon actually, going after your hordes. Range 18, 2d6 blast attacks, really good. 2 to hit, strength 6, -2, nice. And then Psychic Tendril, Neuro Lance. So it's a Melter 2 Psychic Attack, range 18. 2 shots, 2 to hit, strength 12, -3 d6 damage. Nice high caliber stuff coming through now for the Tyranids with this option. They really did need something that's got high punch to it. So yeah, you could do a lot of damage with that weapon. In close combat, you're going to get 6 attacks with the monstrous scythe and talons in 2s, strength 9, -2 and 3 damage. You're also going to get extra attacks with the claws. 4 attacks and then 2, strength 7, -2, 2 damage. So it's a beast enough in close combat. 1 to 5 wounds remaining, it's -1 to hit roll. Deadly demise of d6, so be careful. And then singular purpose, start the first battle round, select one of the following. So select one enemy unit to the end of the battle. Each time this model makes an attack that targets that unit, you can reroll the hit roll and the wound roll. Okay, right, interesting. Just pointing out. So you say you pick on an enemy tank and you say, right, I'm going for this one here, which is reroll hits and wounds, which is fantastically good. Ability to reroll hitting and wounding, so powerful. So you get that. Now what I'm wondering is, say you picked on that tank and you've destroyed it, or you haven't destroyed it. It's at the start of... No. Forget it. It's once per battle because it's at the start of the first battle round. You only get one first battle round in the game. So it's at the very start of the game. You pick an enemy unit and just get real hits and wounds against it. Or you can go for this one. You can select an objective marker until the end of the battle. Whilst this model is in range of that objective marker, you get 5+ feel no pain and an OC of 15. So you really could send it on a mission to go after a particular objective, which is tempting enough with OC of 15 and 5+ feel no pain. Unnatural resilience. This model has the feel no pain of 4+, but only against mortal wounds coming through. Which is a bit of protection, I guess, against devastating wounds, for example. Okay, so that's that one. You're going to pay a few more points for the non-assimilator. You'll see how much harder it can hit. So you are still going to get singular purpose, so you can reroll hits and wounds against a particular target or go after an objective. It does come with harpoon barbs. Once per turn an enemy unit is in engagement range of this model, is selected to fall back, roll d6 on 2 plus the d6 mortal wounds. You're trying to escape from them, you've got a chance to hit it with some mortal wounds. So, yeah, it's harpoon keyword and the rules just here. So we'll cover this. Range 12, so it's close, but you get 2 attacks in 2s. Strength 12 minus 3 and d6 plus 1 damage. After the bearer is shot with this weapon, select one enemy monster or vehicle unit hit by one or more of those attacks. At the end of the turn, you get +2 to your charge rolls. You like pulling them in. Very cool rules. Just drag them in for the kill. It's quite scary. Nice. So in close combat, you're going to get... Yeah, you're better in combat. So you've still got the monstrous Siventans, 6 attacks, 2, strength 9, minus 2 and 3 damage. But instead of the monstrous rending claws with a strength 7, minus 2, 2 attacks, 2 damage coming through, you get the toxin injector harpoons. Still get 4 attacks, 2s to hit, but you're going up to strength 12, minus 3 and d6 plus 1 damage. Scary. So yeah, there's real punch with this thing in close combat. It's scary in combat, for sure. Okay. Nice. Real good model to have as a Vanguard for your army. Next one's the Neuralict. I'm not so keen on the model here. It just looks like a bug that's just been splattered. Just the way its legs are all over the place. We can give you an idea on the points values for this thing. The Neurolictor, 60 points is cheap. So 8-inch move, toughness 5, 4 up save, 4 up invulnerable save, 7 wounds, leadership 7, OC of 1. It's got piercing claws and talons, which is precision attacks, 6 attacks, 2s to hit, strength 6, minus 2, just the 1 damage. It's an infiltrator, a lone operative and stealth. Defeated tendrils. Each time you destroy a character, which I think you're going to struggle to do, just 1 damage weapon, but you gain CP if you can. Neural disruption. Your command phase, select an enemy unit within 12 inches of this model. That unit must take a battle shock test. Yeah. And then psychological saboteur aura. Whilst an enemy unit is within 12 inches of this model, if the unit is battle shocked, each time model that unit makes an attack is -1 to the hit roll, and each time a friendly Tyranids model makes an attack that targets the unit is +1 to the wound roll. So interesting. Interesting little thing, but I might give it a skip. There's termagants. Now, there's just some new war gear with them. The Shard Launcher is blast and heavy range 18, D3 shot, strength 4 minus force to hit, strength 5 minus 0, 1 damage. You kick out a lot of firepower those though. Spike rifle, which is fantastic to see that back. It's a heavy weapon, so +1 to hit rolls if you sit still. Range 24, good range. 1 attack, force to hit, strength 4. Bit of AP minus, -1, 1 damage. The Strangle Web is an assault, devastating wounds, torrent weapon, so auto hitting, range 18, really good range as well. D6 attacks. Auto hitting, strength 2, but devastating wounds, AP minus 0 and 1 damage. And the Devourer, as modelled here, range 18, 2 attack, strength 4. Force to hit, strength 4, AP 0, 1 damage. And you've got Spine Fist as well, which is pistol, twin linked, and assault. 2 attacks at range 12, force to hit, strength 3, AP 0, 1 damage. Okay. So all models in the unit that have their flesh can have their flesh borers replaced with a termagant devourer. All models in this unit can have their flesh borer replaced with spine fists. And then for every 10 you can take a shard launcher, a spike rifle, or a strangle web. Just giving you an update on the war gear. Nothing new going on here. Or here I believe Biowars have stayed the same. Okay, Death Leaper. I'm hoping to run him for my High Fleet Leviathan options here. Yeah. He's cheap. Good. He's 75 points for an amazing, amazing model. So he's in, and 75 is very cheap indeed. Is he any good? 8-inch move. Toughness 6, 3 up save, 4 up invulnerable save. Really good. 7 wounds to try and get through. Leadership 7 plus OC of 1. Lictor claws and talons. 6 attacks in 2. Strength 7, -2, and 2 damage. It's precision attack, so he stands a much better chance of rooting out characters. He gets fights first, infiltrators, lone operative, and stealth. If you destroy a character, you get that CP. And then Fear of the Unseen aura ability. Whilst enemy units within 6 inches of this model worsen their leadership characteristic by 1. In addition, in the battle shock step of your opponent's command phase, if such an enemy unit is below its starting strength, you must take a battle shock test. So yeah, it's a character hunted to lurk around in the shadows. So there he is, Death Leaper. I think I've run him. It's cheap enough. If he was near 100, you might start to wonder. Then you got regular lictors. Now, if Death Leaper's 75, I was hoping the lictor's around 50. We are looking at 70. 5 points difference. Huh. 5 points. Surely not. Looks like it. So 5 points difference. You're getting 1 less wounds, dropping down to 6. 4 up save, 1 less on your save. No in-one save. Duh. Death Leaper's an auto take, really. Just if you're going to run lictors, just take Death Leaper whilst you can. Grab the model whilst you're able to. Because for 5 points, you're getting a heap of bonuses. Surprised at that. I'm going to double check because I'm full of doubts now. Elvis for Lictor, 70 points. Death Leaper, 75 points. Yeah, that might be correct. I'm not sure on that one because for 5 points you get an amazing amount of extra stuff with Death Leaper. But anyway, Lictor, you're still getting 6 attacks, 2 hits. The weaponry is the same. Strength 7, AP -2 damage. Still precision with the Lictor claws. You're still getting your feeder tendrils. And you get Pheromone Trail. Once per battle round, you can target one model with this ability with a rapid ingress stratagem for 0 CP. Right. Okay, right, interesting. Moving along. Love lictors are just very cool. I think it'll take skill to use them, to try and avoid contact with the opponent, but still trying to infiltrate in. Tricky ones to use correctly. So that's it. Yeah, we're through the new releases there. The rest are resculpts, which we're not going to go through the rules for those. Just the brand new sculpts from Games Workshop. So that's the review. So they've got some new units which look good. They've now got a heavy hitting monster who will do well in close combat. So that's good. And then Death Leaper's looking pretty good as well. Detachments, that I think there's some good stuff going on with those. They're very strongly themed, sort of funneling you down a particular direction with certain units to take. But if you embrace those themes, there's some great rewards in there for sure. And now Tyranids, it's opened out a whole diverse range of opportunities with these detachments to really build some strongly themed stuff and see how you get on. Looks like your data cards aren't shifting much at all. It's going to be the way you build your army and use it, and then keep an eye out on the points values where Games Workshop may use that to try and give a boost to a faction or to knock them down if they get too strong. But looks like not too much of a change really going on. It should be a nice straightforward adaptation for Tyranids players to shift from index cards over into the official codex here, and I think it'll come at a welcome time for Tyranids players. I reckon. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. What do you think of the detachments? Which detachment will you take? Will you be taking any of the new units? And how have you been getting on with Tyranids? I don't think they're the worst of factions. I think there's a great depth to them, especially now with these new detachments coming along. For discount 40k, do use that link in the video description below. It really helps out the channel. It's much appreciated. Big thank you to everyone that's been doing it. It just helps us get more units into our games and just helps diversify the channel just by using that link. And again, it doesn't cost you anything to do it. And if you're looking at discount 40k across the UK and most of the European Union, then use that link for the Outpost. That's the review. Keep a lookout for more Tyranids content. Check out the videos that are already live. For the Tyranids, a celebration time for the new models, brand new codex for them. They're the first off the mark for 10th edition to get their brand new codex. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time.